going on, everybody? Welcome to All Stock Trades. How's everybody doing today? All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So hopefully you guys can hear me. The mic is good. Yeah. So we have a couple things to discuss today. We're going to talk about what to expect for the future for small caps, rate cuts. Talk about Clover. It's been performing well. We're going to talk about the after hours market. Clover's actually up right now in the after hours. It was up at $3.09. Now it went down to $3.07. So it's up more than a little bit half of a percent. But it was up. Oh, hello. It was up. What you call it at 9 cents. So it is oscillating right now. But the question is, are we gonna have another green day? Now again, it's like a rubber band effect. We've had multiple days of down days, so it only makes sense. But we may get some consolidation. It's just kind of it's just you can't always go up, right? So for folks that are they have anxiety, right? Just kind of always put that in the back of your head and mind, right? So sorry about that, Ryan. Been pretty busy today. Going to Brazil. Hey man, yeah, have a safe flight. Almost at 10K shares. I pray I can get to 20 to 30 before it hits 30. Yeah, we know where it's going, right? I mean, it's kind of a very obvious, especially when you do all the due diligence, you kind of figure it out, right? But first, before I start, I wanted to just talk about the 9 to 5 scam. I did put some music. Hopefully you heard it. Hopefully you can hear me, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I mean, this scam is just such a bullshit scam they feed us, right? The life expectancy is 78 years old, retirement 65. I mean, what, 13 years? You work 50 years to be free for 13 years? That's why they say it's important to find a job that you like. But the problem is like, how much of, I can show you the surveys. I'm sure we've heard them. Not a lot of people are happy with their life, right? Sometimes the job that you're in is not the job that you want. And it's not like you can go ahead and change it. You got bills to pay. And it's hard. It's really hard. And if you have kids and if you have people that depend on you, good luck, right? You might have to work hard like a slave for them and die for them. So maybe they can potentially live their American dream. If you're in that situation, I get it, man. Right? You're the rock, right? You're the person that is gonna basically create generations of enjoyment, which sucks for you, but it is what it is. There's a better path out there, guys. There's a better path, right? There's a better way. And these YouTube videos and these case studies that we're doing using data, showing you, hey, there's a stock, it's undervalued, it dropped. I only had, when I first started talking about Clover, when it was around like $6, $5, $6, $7, $5, something around that area, I only had like maybe 10, 20,000 shares. That's it. I didn't have that much, right? I was heavy in Palantir, Exxon Mobil. You can watch my videos. I was heavy in those stocks, and I was able to double my money in Energy Transfer, which I was able to triple to 4x my money. But then I was in Berkshire Hathaway. I was able to 3x my money there, I believe, or 2x. So then what I started doing is, as Clover started going down, I started going down heavy. And now I'm at 428,000 shares, and I'm trying to get to 500,000, right? So as the stock kept going down, I was like, oh my God, this is way below, this is like near book value. I got to buy more. So that's kind of the situation there, right? So we're starting to see risk on come back online in the market, right? And what's going to end up happening is now I'm going to show you, and I was like, you know what, better yet, let me just show people, let me just have this portfolio show folks. It was finally able to hit over 1 million again. And just show folks essentially how how is someone, to show you in real time how someone's able to generate wealth, right? And what's even crazy is I'm gonna show you. You're gonna see someone make $200,000 to $500,000 to $700,000 a month. You're gonna see someone make literally 3/4 of a million per month. And then you're going to see, me go ahead and buy properties. And I'm going to give you kind of an example of how this is done. So you can see there's somebody out there that's doing that. And then I'm going to explain it to you the best way. This is my specialty, is being able to take something complex and break it down to something simple. Because it really is simple. It's just humans like to make it complex. Like, you have a 65-year-old patient that presents with tachypnea, tachycardia, and diaphoresis that has mid epigastric pain that's radiating to the left shoulder, and all these bullshit words that people like to use. And it's just a guy who's sweating a lot, his heart rate's up, and he can't breathe. Right? And he has pain in his abdomen, his stomach, and in his shoulder. Heart attack. Okay? Potentially. Okay? Okay. Patient has increased levels of troponins. That's uptrending. Okay. Little protein in his heart is leaking in his blood. Right? You can detect it in the blood test. Okay, yeah. He's having a heart attack. Right? So people like to use words to sound smart, and it almost creates a divide. Like with the financial literacy, we use revenue, free cash flow, all those bullshit words. And it's just, I'm going to show you that you don't need to be a genius to understand. In fact, if you're dumb, it's actually even better, right? I know it's like a laugh, like what? It's actually you being not smart and you being like just a clean slate is sometimes good, right? It's like in residency. It's why, it's really hard to train a doctor who's already went training somewhere else, because it's hard to go back. Well, I do this way. Well, shut the hell up. We do it here this way, and you're a training resident. Shut the hell up and listen, right? So it's easy to come with a clean slate sometimes. Okay. The point is, I'm going to show you guys how I make bank, and you guys are going to see that you can live the American dream, right? It's a bullshit scam they sold us. I'm tired of it. I'm making a YouTube channel about it because I don't know what else to do. I feel like I'm telling you guys, I go to a beach, I go enjoy myself, and I look at all the workers that are, I help them put away tables. Like that's what I do on my free time. Those people at the beach in Florida, I help them because it pisses me off that it's like this. But again, it is what it is. People don't give a shit, right? People don't care, right? But that's just not who I am, right? This is not my essence of what I want to be remembered by, right? So, given this, to break out of the system, you need to learn a few skills. Okay. The problem is you need to have access to data, right? You can't, if you want to leave your situation, you need to have a plane, right? The problem is the plane is backed by engines, physics, data. And so in order to be successful in the market, you need to have a group of people that are motivated, but also you need to empower them with data, because a group of people with no data is just a group of dumbasses. Okay. So right now what's happening is we got a huge bounce off of the RSI. It's very clear that if this doesn't look like a bottom, I don't know what is. This is a pretty big one. Now, again, how much of this is just retail investors buying the hype and day traders coming online? Now, if you look at Clover, it shot up $3.25 and it fell down 6%. I guarantee you these were probably day traders. Okay. The thing is, we're up 5%, more than 5% today. In 5 days, we're up 10%. In fact, we were up 22%. Actually, we are up 22%, right? Now, if you go ahead and look at the day for Humana, we're, break even. Alignment's up 4.34%, right? United, 1.3. So again, it was a good day. And then United was up pretty high today. And then it kind of consolidated and then trickled back up online. So the point is, healthcare had a good day today, and we're starting to see Clover become responsible. Like, it's becoming financially, it's becoming responsive again. Before it wasn't doing that. It was like a dead weight. Okay. And then today we had, and this is part of the stock terminal. It updates us, a stock terminal GPT, whenever Vivek posts and whenever Twitter Clover tweets or anything that Clover. What is that? HJ, Jesus, man, you guys are hilarious. Anywho, so whenever we get the news quick, okay, we get it quick. So Clover today. I'm just going to go ahead and, excellent work. I look forward to the business update. It's very clear that we are trending towards profitability. And this quarter will further solidify that period.
Excellent work. I look forward to the business update. Why it's very clear that we are trending towards profitability, and this quarter will further solidify that.
To the business update. Let me just kind of fix some grammar here. Okay. Let's put a little more clove, and then we'll just go ahead and do that. So if we click on so the earnings conference is going to be on August 5th. Okay. So that's less than a month away. And I have to see if I'm able to even do a live due to my schedule. So I got to look at the yeah, so I'll be able to. I'm going to be busy, but I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if I can work it. I'll probably be able to do it at night. Worst case scenario. We'll see. We'll see the timing here, but good. Okay. So now that we have August 5th, now the market is like, well, okay. Well, we know here's the earnings now, right? You see how we have an E here? And I told you it was a descending triangle. It so happened that we found the counterpart Humana thing that now it's broke out of resistance. And then you see how like the descending triangle ends? You see how we hit it to end? Like it's like literally right. The intersection is literally right. Oh yeah, we call this the M. Somebody said, did I miss the explanation of the green dots? This is something that Weeble does. I'm not really too sure. It just shows momentum. I call this in the stock term. I call this the MK. It's proprietary to not me, but someone who's very famous. Only people in the Clove Tart community channel understand what the MK is. It's a bit proprietary. I can't discuss it because it's not mine to discuss. But once it comes to fruition, you will feel it intrinsically, more in the latter half of the body, more towards the core element of the earth, if that makes sense, right? All right. So the 9 to 5 scam is also designed to make you have no interest in the fact that, oh, what the hell? Epstein didn't kill himself, and there's no. What the fuck? I wasn't expecting that. What? Yeah, we're gonna release the list. There's no list. Okay. All right. That's interesting. I'm again, I don't follow the media that well, but I everyone's so interested in this list, and now we're saying where there isn't a list. Yeah, I don't know. Again, guys, I don't have enough data to comment on that, right? But all I can tell you is that the E here, what I do have data on is you see how these white lines cross-sect from each other? It cross-sects right at the E. You see how I did that? You see how sexy that is? So the question now is, are we going to have a breakout or breakdown? Well, obviously we're having a breakout now, right? But are we going to have a breakout or breakdown? Now, here's the thing. Q2 is special because we've done our homework. What's this little plus sign do? Okay, just to zoom in. Like, what does this do? All right, press. So we're not dumb, right? We know that it's going up, right? Because in terms of the fund, I don't know about the stock price, but the fundamentals is going to be better, right? Unless they give us a Houdini. I think my predictions are they're going to go ahead and revise earnings upwards. EBITDA is going to be revised upwards, and we're going to have positive growth earnings. Now, Wall Street's thinking, one analyst is thinking on the street 3 cents per share. Again, I think it's going to be greater than 3 cents. We'll see. And, anywhere between, 1 to, I think, 10 cents. Oh, I got to check. I got to do some work. I have it. I don't think it's 10. Let me just give me a moment. 37 divided by 505. 7 cents. I would say anywhere between 2 cents to 7 cents. That's my, right? That's my thing. Anything, that's what I'm kind of projecting. I don't like to play this projection game. I'm more free cash flow. I'm not quarter over quarter like these analysts, but just to kind of teach you that, hey, our platform will teach you how to do that so you can project and be your own analyst, right? It's just easier to do it for Clover because we can kind of dissect the guidance they gave us and stuff. So we've done the hard work here. You can see the volume, though, has been up. It is kind of going down a little bit here, a little slight dip on the volume. So we're going to have to monitor that to see. But, if we go ahead, zoom in on the different time frame, you can see there's a little gap here. This micro gap may fill. We did have a gap here on the 30-minute here. So that'll be interesting to see if that fills. So, again, because of, we may get some consolidation. So don't be scared. We might get a dip, right? But the thing is, the question is it gonna dip like this? Is this gonna serve as a support line? And then once we have multiple levels of support, then we have the duty to start drawing the next level of support here. Oh, I can't. I'm not doing this correctly. We have the obligation here to just start drawing everywhere like we don't know what the hell we're doing. What in the world? Hold on, guys. I got to restart this damn thing. Hold on. It's not listening to me. Still doing it? Jesus. Come on. Seriously? Hold on, guys. Wow. Holy crap, guys. It's not even working. I've never seen this before. There. No, it's whatever. All right. Well, I need to stop pressing buttons because this thing is not. I'm just gonna. The point is here is we're gonna have to start doing another ascending triangle. The thing is, we need to know how low it goes. We haven't formulated a support. This is just stabilization. We need to fall down some, or we might grow more, and then this bar needs to go raise. But we need to find what's the next level of support here, which our software will do. The thing is, I just don't know why. I'm just going to delete that if I can. There. I don't know what the hell that was, but yeah. So we're going to go ahead, bump up here, and then we're going to see kind of where the consolidation is. Again, I'm not too sure why it's doing that, but it is what it is. Okay, so now that we talked about that, we need to see the level of support. Now, let's go ahead and use our software here. We're going to go ahead and type in CLOV. And we can just look at support and resistance. So, we've been oscillating here at 305. 318's been a level of resistance here. We're going to see if we can pass it. 285 is looking like the next level of support, which is what I said on one of the Twitter things that we talked about. And then here we have the 298. Now, what I like to do is just from the respects of time, we can go ahead and generate a report here, and we could just conglomerate all this in a very sophisticated manner and look at it all in a very professional, hedge fund like report. So we just literally go ahead and do this, and you have a beautiful, confidential equity research. It shows you when it was generated. Today's July 8th, right? And then it shows that, hey, it's CLOV. We got 2 bullish and 3 bearish signals in regards to the sentiment. So in terms of, from the technicals, there's still technical damage. So it needs to be repaired. And that's what's happening right now. From the Monte Carlo, it gives you the 5,000 projection pathway. It looks like the median price is $3.23. So it's expecting a 6% increase. Now, if you would have ran this, it would have showed you that it would have been higher also. So this is pretty accurate, right? So you can see it's predicting in the next 50 days, potentially, we could get to 6%, which makes sense because we got earnings. That's something we got to look at too. And these are the different levels of analysis that it's working. But the big thing is it shows you the support and resistance. Again, this is all part of the Al Stock Trades platform lifetime access. I mean, I'm telling you, when I tell you, you guys don't fly blind with this, right? It's very nice. So you could see that 285 was really great for it to consolidate. We kind of went down here and then we shot up. A lot of people were freaking out here. And then, they took their meds and then they took another pill. And now it's consolidating. So the goal now is to see, hey, is this $3 going to hold, right? This is kind of the downtrend. And then we got a big reversal. And if we were to follow this line here, it looks like back in August, September, we got that reversal here. So this here was the same as this, right? So you got a reversal. And if you look at the volumes are similar as well. So it looks like buyers are stepping in here. Again, how much of that is counterpart rumor versus actual just interest? Again, we also have earnings, right? The weekly needs to be updated. So after this weekly will get updated and we'll get this data. But overall, just like I said, August here was the method. This is what it said last week, and you could see it went up, right? Same here. You're starting to see just little dip, and then now it's reversing back up. Is this formulating somehow a massive potential cup and handle? Again, I don't know. If we go ahead and look at the daily, could this be a cup? Hold on. Could this be a cup? And here's your handle, and then here's your explosion. This is what might set us off over 5. Again, I don't know. Okay, or we'll see what happens. But the thing is this $2. This is why our platform is powerful. So from this perspective, you could see the 254 Fibonacci, just huge support. I mean, this looks like it's solidifying a bottom. Could we retest these elements? Potentially. But now there's going to be a lot of more buyers that are confident in this region. In fact, many people are like, man, I really want 250 again. Hopefully we get there so I can buy. Whenever you start having that cycle, then you're gonna get a lot of buyers step in. Versus when we were here at 250, a lot of people were saying, well, it's gonna go under $2. A lot of people were doing that, and they come out of the woodworks. These folks, they're just kind of this is kind of the battle between the bull and the bear, and it's just it's very some interesting people. But yeah, so So from that perspective, you can basically see we had a big shot up here. We got checkmated by the 325. Now we're consolidating here. And we may retest these areas, and then ultimately we might have another breakout for earnings. The question now is, are we setting ourselves up from a macro perspective, which I'll talk about right now? But you can see that 255 is just, it just basically said, okay, we're done. And then now, are we ready to make new highs? So that's kind of the battle here, right? You can see this data here, okay? Here's the Monte Carlo simulation. You can see the bull case, 320, 355, 550, 501, 506. Here's the base cases, 308, 297, 323, 142, 270. Again, this doesn't have a lot of data, hence why it's always going to be undershooting, but I like that because it brings the averages down, right? I'd rather be conservative. But overall, if you look at it from the daily, which is pretty good, you can see that we have a high probability of, we already know that this stock is oversold, so we can look at the bull case more confidently, and we can see that this thing is anywhere between 320 to 506. This is what or 550. That's the expectation, right? And then Craig Holland's price target $6, which if you use the our data by pressing this button called Analyst Price Targets, you can see here. In fact, we'll do maybe the daily. We can do the Analyst Price Targets. You can see how sexy this is. It gives you the high target of 6. The consensus of $3.43, which we're trading under. The median target of 250, which we went to, and then we reversed. And the low target of 180, which obviously is not accurate in my opinion, and also is one Vivek bought. So you can see how, these can also serve, and this is why I like this, because you can use it as a technical indicator as well, which most platforms don't have. Again, it's all about data, right? Data driven, and the fact that people can have this for lifetime access. You can see that the goal is not to keep selling you data every month. I internalize that price, right? The goal is to bring a bunch of people in a community that we have over $45 million of net worth, and then hopefully grow that up to, soon to be $1 billion. And then be able to have, there's other places that do this. One place, I think it's Sub-Zero. The problem is it costs $75,000 to $10,000 a year to be in, and the results are not that great. So what I'm trying to do, and they don't give you data, so it's like half, wherever you go, it's just half-assed, right? I'm tired of going out to a restaurant eating half-assed food, right? So I got a chef, right? So I'm tired of these half-assed analysis. Give you top-notch data, bring in people, empower them, and then have them use the data, right? And you can see how clean this is. I mean, are you seeing this? Right? We went above. Here's Craig Holland's price target. We have yet to get to it. We cracked the consensus of 343. We dropped to the median target of 250, and now we're reversing. And not only is this the median target, it's also the Fibonacci target, right? If you look at the Fibonacci target, or one of the support lines here on a different time frame, right here, see right there, the Fibonacci, and you can see it here, right there, right right? You could see that it hit right on the median target, and now it's reversing. And now the goal is, can we break out of the consensus? And once we break out of the consensus and all the other, support and resistance in Fibonacci, then we can basically get to that high target here, and that's going to be the goal, right? So that's kind of where it's at. And you can see how powerful this is because this is easy to read. This is not difficult. It's very simple, elegant. It's just very simple. Take a lot of data. You have a lot of data. You have, you want to go in and you want to look at institutional ownership. You click this. There it is. Look at 25 years. Look at here. It's not 25 years, but it gives you a long range. Look at the total invested. You see how clean this is? You can see there's 207 investors. Highest there's ever been. It's a little bit more easier way of looking at it. It doesn't show you the change in delta, which is we have that. I'm still going to make it available. It just requires a lot of computation. But look how clean this is. You can see the ownership's increasing. Again, very clean data here. Okay. All right. So again, here's your institutional ownership. This is the short range. This is the long range. Here's your fundamental analysis for analyst estimates. I like looking at it right like this. Here's the revenue. So you can see revenue in 2029. They're thinking Clover could be above $3 billion in revenue. I think it's going to be more because these analysts always like to undershoot. Look at net income. They're expecting it to be profitable, $100 million here. And then and they're trying to see how they push this on purpose. The low, they make it negative 700 million, but the high, they make it 800 million. Again, you're going to see that, which is why it's important to not rely on analysts 100%, but to see what they're doing and then do your own and see if it matches. And if you're not emotional and if you're consistent, right, then you can trust in your due diligence. Okay. Same thing here. Again, there's a lot of data, and then I have the moving average. So you can start to see the moving average. So 2028 and 2029, they can't hide it. They're expecting a lot. But why is these years important? Well, it's when counterparts data, that SaaS revenue is going to materialize at its high peak point. So this stock is going to be, in my opinion, I think it's going to be over $50 or at least over $50 in 2029. The thing is, the market is at forward looking, and is it going to see that, and is it going to price that in? That's the battle. Okay. And you can look at earnings per share. You could see earnings per share is around 20 cents here and a little over that, 30 cents. The thing is, I think, they're putting 2026 at almost break even. That's a crock of shit, and that will get updated soon. Right? Again, these are analyst projections. These are not my projections. But hey, it's important to have. If you go to a Bloomberg terminal, this is what you're going to get. Right? But the thing is, what they're doing is they're cooking the books. They're cooking the numbers because it's their analyst projections. They can project garbage. So because they know that people like me, because it's very clear. I see them on LinkedIn. They always follow me. They're seeing that I'm listening and I got access to the data. But what they didn't realize is once I saw them play these games with the EPS, I said, okay, fine, I'll start estimating my own EPS. And I think that's what shocked them, because for this whole time, I've always talked about free cash flow. Once they saw me talk about EPS, they're like, wait, what the hell? He knows how to do the EPS estimation. What? Like how the hell is he doing that? Right. Again, I give out data when data is needed to be given. I don't share all my secrets just yet. A lot of them is in the lifetime access. But I share them as a need to know basis, right? Because again, I am seeing discrepancies in what they're projecting and then what's reality. Okay. Which is why we have access to this institutional ownership, and they can't lie to us because I attack it from different perspective. How many shares are they owning? Because yeah, okay, fine. Ownership can be low and they could cook the books there. But if they're buying a lot of shares or if there are a lot of investors, then it's on their radar. And so the trend has changed. And our platform was the first place to pick up the trend change. Even when people were saying, I don't think there's an uptrend. I'm like, yes, there is, because it broke out of the red dots. These are simple moving averages. People think that you can apply simple moving averages just on the share price. No, you can apply simple moving averages on the dilation and the constriction of freaking pupils in someone who's about to have a brain herniation, right? For folks that are listening, you can use that idea and create your own company, right? And then you're able to predict if someone's on an uptrend for herniation, right? There's your little invention there, right? It can be easily disrupted, but the idea is there, right? So the point is you can apply this to a lot of methodologies, right? So anyhow, that's kind of the idea here. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so we did that. Any questions? I know it's late. Any questions, guys? Curious, what's the overnight right now? Let's see. Yeah, it's still 7 cents. Used to be 9 cents, up 0.66. Yeah, overnight. But yeah, let me look at the questions here. See here. Yeah, so. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Thank you. Right here. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I also have this tab too. Ah, shit. I have a lot to talk about. All right. So, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, Kevin. Okay. So, mega cap, large cap, mid cap, right? Small cap. We're in the small cap right now. How do you know that? Just look at here, 1.55 billion. So, we're pretty much right here, guys, right? Palantir used to be this. They went from a large cap to a mega cap, which is pretty impressive. So, rate cuts. I'm expecting there to be 2 rate cuts this year. And the goal is, you always have to look ahead. You can't, if you want to be, and I know it's hard, guys. I know, like, you guys got kids and, you guys that's why it's important to have some research, but you guys got kids, you got so much shit to do, man. You got to like worry about how you're going to feed your kids. What are you going to cook dinner? Saving for your kids' college, bullshit, all this stuff, right? The problem is when it comes to Wall Street, you can't expect to make money by trading what's happening right now. If you look at April 7th, a lot of people were banging the drums of a recession. People were saying recession, right? That was a buying opportunity, okay? And, people were, if you look at VIX, the VIX literally went from above, 60, it was 65, and it literally went ahead and crashed. And then people were saying, hey, these gaps need to be filled. It's going to go back up. I'm going to wait. Well, of course it's going to go back up in the future. I mean, it's always gone back up, right? There's always been sometimes, right? There's always going to be a time where it goes back up. But the thing is, the point is this was peak fear. This was peak fear. And if you weren't buying peak fear, then I don't know what to tell you, right? Because what ended up happening was April 7th was peak fear, right? And if you go to SPX, this was peak fear right here. If you didn't buy that, then I don't know what to tell you, because you missed out on 24% gain, 24.94%. Okay. And it's these types of movements that's going to help you outperform the market, right? If you go ahead and if you take the VIX data plus the intrinsic value data plus the fundamental analysis data plus the technical analysis data, if you go ahead and take all that data, you can make yourself have an edge in the market. That's how you build an edge. So I'm expecting that small caps are going to start coming back online in 2026. And I think that Clover is going to graduate from being a small cap to a mid cap, and have a possibility to be a potential large cap in the future. Right. But I think right now we're breaking we literally went down to freaking $400 million, and now we're touching and knocking on the doors of mid cap. Okay. And I'm expecting 2 rate cuts this year. Either the first one is going to be either in September or October. And then I'm expecting more rate cuts to happen in 2026. I'm already seeing Trump trying to line someone and pick someone that is going to agree with him. They're going to want rate cuts. Trump is going to want another meme stock crazy 2021 rally or 2020 rally. He wants that. He wants the stock market to soar. That's what he wants. Okay. So you're going to see the Trump put, right? You're going to see all these tax cuts that he did for the wealthy. You're going to see them buy more shares of stock. You're going to see increase in, in X, Y, and Z. Now, let me just take a moment. I don't like to get political. Okay. Trust me, guys. I freaking hate politics. But let me just give you just my personal opinion here. Okay. This is my opinion. Okay. It's probably wrong, but this is just my opinion. I loved the crap out of Obama. I was a huge Democrat when I was in college. Huge Democrat. I went from being a Democrat to being an independent, and almost honestly now leaning more conservative, not because I'm conservative, no. Because we're having a fundamental shift in the Democratic Party. Now, why am I talking about politics? Like what the hell does politics have to do with freaking stocks? Well, it has to go back to the 9-to-5 scam, right? Oh shit, another comment here. What's up, Al? Just got to say, CLOV millionaire here. I'm not selling until I'm a deca millionaire. Al is the man. Vegas coming. Let's go, baby. Oh, dude, you're gonna definitely break that deca millionaire. We all are, right? Definitely gonna do it. And we're gonna use the wheel strategy to take those earnings and buy and be a deca millionaire in real estate to solidify your wealth for multi-generational wealth. That's what I'm trying to teach. But the reason why I'm talking about politics, guys, is, and again, I'm sorry if I'm offending Democrats here, okay? But there is a problem in the party right now, which is why you're starting to see aberrations like the mayor of New York. Whenever you have a mayor of New York get elected, was it the mayor of New York? This guy here? He's the mayor. Yeah. Zoran Mamdani. A lot of the stuff he was saying was pretty on point. The things that gravitated some tension was him saying he doesn't believe there should be billionaires, and he's a socialist. I think that's stupid because socialism, in my opinion, doesn't work. But yeah, for the folks that are MAGA, just for our conservative lifetime. Again, we have lifetime members that are conservative and Democrat, and they all come together as family, right? He won. He won, didn't he? Did he win? He won, didn't he? Secures victory. Yes. And the most total votes in New York mayor primary history, right? He won, didn't he? Or not yet? Again, I'm going to comment on whatever this voting is. He won that vote, right? So I'm going to explain to you guys, and them candidate. Okay, he's a candidate. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you guys why this guy won. Okay, now my credentials for the primary, when it comes to politics, I don't know shit about politics. Okay, so don't listen to me when it comes to like primaries and votes. I don't know nothing about that. I suck at that. I'm speaking on the money. Like that's my expertise is in money, right? Haves and have-nots, Karl Marx. I'm going to speak in that area, right? I wish I had my iPad. I'm not going to talk about Emil Durkheim. It's too much sociology, but one of my degrees, I have 3 undergraduate degrees. Obviously, the master's in science and MD is coming, but it's going to be total 5 degrees. But So I have 3 undergraduate degrees. One of them is in sociology. Okay. Now, in sociology, they made us like study all the history, and you know me, I like to learn, so I broke it down, and I know more about sociology than probably some folks that have been teaching it. I read everything. Okay, because I wanted to understand my world that I was surrounded by. Obviously, you know, the hand of opulence with Adam Smith and all that, but we're going to go ahead and fast forward to Karl Marx. The problem is when you have a society that has not been winning, which we're going to call this the poor society. The poor society has not been winning for a long, long time. Okay. They've been losers, right? In terms of money. I'm not talking about family, but they've been losers. Okay. They've lost. I was one of these losers. Okay. I got pissed off at the system. I'm like, I'm working hard and I am losing. Okay. I developed a general, I wouldn't say hatred, but I generated a dislike of the Democratic Party. Okay. Specifically, let me speak to you guys here. Specifically, I become very, I became very, I don't know. I don't like this lady. Okay. I'm just going to say it like this. Okay. I don't like this person. In my opinion, again, this is all my opinion. I think this person is a hypocrite. Okay. She is the face of the Democratic Party. Does she know her shit? She does. But if you're going to go ahead and say you are for the people,
Nancy Pelosi,
and your net worth is, $215 million, and your husband is a hedge fund manager, and you go ahead and try to act like you're for the poor, that's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. So the Democrats see this now. Okay. And you're starting to have, even again, it's a free country. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. But whenever you have Obama, whose net worth soared to $70 million, while the poor just keep getting poorer, you're starting to see that the system doesn't work for you. These people enrich themselves and they enrich their own pockets, and they don't give an F about you, right? Hashtag Tupac, okay? They don't care about you, okay? So when you start seeing this, Emil Durkheim said, there's a friction between the bourgeoisie and the proletariats, okay? The proletariats are the poor folks, the losers, right? The way wealth is spread in the United States, I'm sure there's a nice graph. The way wealth is distributed in the United States, and it's very disgusting. It kind of reminds me of Platform, the movie. If you guys haven't seen it, hold on. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend seeing this movie. Platform is a very disgusting movie, and it's like people that they give them this like amazing food at the top of the platform. Like the top 1% get like Michelin food. I've been to Michelin restaurants. I've had the most expensive food on the planet, right? And I've been at the bottom where I had trash. I mean, I've lived this movie, which is like very weird, right? And the only difference is I'm creating an elevator to get you to the top, right? Instead of leaving people behind. That's not who I am, right? But all this food was like very good, right? It was like clean. And as the food progresses down, people eat it and then eat all of it to where they eat more than what they want. They just over engorge themselves. Then after a month, they shift, right? They essentially shift, and then the people at the top end up being at the bottom. So what ends up happening is when the people are at the top, they mistreat the people below them. Sometimes they eat and then they're done, and then they piss on the food when people are eating on the bottom. They take dumps and they piss on the food and they spit on them and they treat the people under them like crap. And then when some like main player character in the movie was like, why would you do that? And the guy said that because if we were below them, they would do the same thing to us. This really says a lot about life, to where by the time it goes down all the way down to the below of the platform to the lower level, there's no more food left, to where they would have to kill another person to eat their body. Again, I'm sorry I ruined the movie for you, but I really need to teach you guys this because this is very important to me, right? The way the world is structured, and if you look at the distribution of wealth and households, I want you to look at the top 1%, right? Sadly, it's good for me. I'm in this income group now. I'm here now, right? This is the top 90%. This top 50 to 90%. Now watch this. I'm going to zoom in because this is disgusting. Okay. Look at the bottom 50%. This is the bottom. This is not like the bottom 10%. The bottom 10% eat scraps. They're at the bottom of the platform. Okay. So again, here the share of wealth owned by the bottom 50%, its low point of 0.4 in 2011. Because why? The great financial crisis. They got hit hard, right? Everyone else lost money, but it was just a technical analysis dip. It was just, below 200-day moving average. We'll just wait before it hits above 200 moving average, and then they went back online. So again, I'm again, I have to talk about politics to be able to explain this to you because this here, people like her have made it worse. People like this lady have made this worse. It wasn't all her fault, but because she has that pin, a lot of it was her fault. So what ends up happening is you have a group of people come online like AOC and Zoran and a bunch of people that are against capitalism. You have colleges now that are teaching anti-capitalistic views. For all my MAGA friends, you love me, you trust me. I'm explaining to you guys why this is happening. Do you blame AOC and do you blame these socialists for acting this way when their whole lives they've been here and they're seeing people go like this? A lot of rich folks, they look at me, they're like, well, you did it. No, guys, listen. I had to gain over 100 pounds to be able to jump this. I probably removed maybe 20 years of my life. I'm trying to get it back, right? But I had to kill myself in order to climb the top, right? It really is terrible. On the process of climbing, I wrote down some notes and I learned some skills. And I've taken what I've learned and I put it in a platform that I can teach that is instant. I wish I had this. No one didn't want to create it. It's not like no one had it. Hedge funds did. They just don't want to share it. I'm sure there are people that join our platform. They probably find 10 baggers, but they don't discuss. They don't share. It's okay. People have that cave-like man mentality. They like to go in, like the platform. They get access to the big food. They eat, and they don't give a shit about other people. That's fine. But is that the culture that I'm creating? No. That's why I'm pointing them out to be a barbarian, right? That's not I want us to be more civilized, okay? But the thing is, what ends up happening is when you have a group of people that are losing, you have this as a product. This guy here who's grown up losing his whole life, okay? So now, why are the rich mad now? The reason why is you have a socialist now as a potential mayor of New York which is the epitome, the representation of capitalism, given that they hold Wall Street and you have a socialist mayor. That's not a good look, right, for capitalism in general. But what's happening now is this is a canary in a coal mine. Okay. What we're going to, um, again, when I say Zoran, I'm sorry. I don't mean him. He's just the face of the people that voted for him. If you, again, I've looked at it. I went deep into this. If you go ahead and look at the people that voted for him, their answer choice is because they wanted somebody different. They don't want the Democratic establishment because they haven't done anything for them. For them, who's them? For the people down at the bottom, I have to scroll all the way to the bottom for you to see them. For these people here. All right. And this is the bottom 50%, not even the bottom 10%. The bottom 10% are not even on this. The bottom 10% actually have a negative value. They go negative. The bottom 10% is not shown here, ladies and gentlemen. The bottom 10% has zero, is negative zero. It's like negative 100. You know what I'm saying? Right? So that's what this is. It's just, the data tells the story, right? And what's happening is because you're getting people to vote for this, you have more poor people than you have rich. And what's happening now is you're going to start to see a bunch of these people that are just tired of losing. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to control the means of production, which then, if you look at this guy, he's specifically stated he wants to seizing the means of production of what it means. And that's what they're going after. This was predicted not by me, but by Karl Marx. The friction between the bourgeoisie and the proletariats. What ends up happening is over time, the bourgeoisie see this as a resistance from the poor. So what they do is they give the poor a raise and they give them a little bit of sprinkle access. Maybe that's why we have Robin Hood now. I don't know, right? And then that shuts them up for a while, right? But it's this constant struggle of fighting for resources, fighting for food on a platform that's designed where, at least in this movie, you shift. But in reality, you're in a social class, and sometimes people are in a social class their whole life, right? And that's what's happening now, which brings me back to my point why I'm telling you the 9 to 5 is a scam. Okay. When I'm I don't know why I can't, my significant others, family is wealthy. I can go relax, right? I can go right now. I can go relax, man. I can go beach house, relax, and I can go enjoy the means of production of my father-in-law, right? Because he owns a lot of it, right? But that's not what brings me joy. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know. Everyone's built differently, right? It's just maybe because I was on the bottom and I felt like shit and no one was helping me. And I was like, you know what? If I get to the top, I'm going to do something. And maybe that's what it is, right? But again, that's just who I am. I can't explain it. I don't know what maybe that's why I picked medicine, right? I want to help. Again, I don't know what my psyche is, and I don't know what the hell my deal is. But the point is we're here now. We have a channel. We have over 9,000 subscribers. We have a platform, and we have a pathway to bring you out from going to zero to hero. That's all I know, and that's what we built. And we're going to work on that. We're going to focus on that, right? But that's the kind of the overall, just that's why I talk about politics, right? Just because of that. So again, you could kind of see my perspective, and I hope that maybe you already know about this. If not, there's something that there it is. And a lot, again, you talk to Chamath, you talk to David Sachs. I don't think they're maybe if you talk with them for 30, 40 minutes, they'll get to this deep level of an analysis. But this is just kind of from my education and what I've learned, and I've read a lot. I've read, God knows how many pages I've read, guys. I can fill this whole room I'm in, big room with books that I've read, and probably I would run out of space. I'm just giving it to you so you can see the byproducts here, right? Of what this means. Okay. Let me go ahead and just read the comments here. I feel like a lot of poor people are by design in their own financial situation. They're grown up to hate the rich and that everything needs to be handed out them instead of being like you are. Yeah, you exactly. And I don't know why, but when I see a rich person, I don't get jealous. I learn. I'm like, how do I do that? How do I get better than that? What do I don't know. Maybe that has to do with mindset. That's why, there's a difference between, this all goes back down to psychology. A fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. That's one of the first things I've learned, guys, before going into med school. There's two different mindsets, and either good at it or I'm not. I can learn to do anything I want. It's just two different mindsets. And you need to have some type of delusion for a growth mindset. You got to be a little delusional, right? You see with Elon, I'm going to build rockets and send it to Mars. You really got to be delusional, right? You have to have that for a growth mindset. And there's a lot of realists out there and atheists. And that's why religion is important, because it allows you to transcend and be a little delusional to say, again, someone's looking after for me. And I do believe there's a God, right? But I'm just giving you kind of the situation. Maybe this is a byproduct of not believing in God, right? Again, I don't know. That's my opinion. Okay. I have no data to back this up. Just my observation. Right. And Dakota, I'm very happy we're making a connection. Again, not a lot of people talk about this at the intersection between finance, but again, there's a reason why I'm doing this, right? It's like 10:26 p.m. right? I'm going to be a doctor. Why am I doing this? Well, because there's a problem, guys. All the patients that I'm seeing are down here. They're down here. What the hell? Who am I helping? Right? How do I help them? Yeah, make sure you take your insulin. They look at me. I don't have a fridge. Well, shit. What am I going to do? Right? All right. Well, I don't have electricity. Oh, well, how the hell are you going to take your insulin? Right? So the point is this, first I wanted to become a social worker. I realized their hands were tied. Then a doctor, their hands were tied. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the heart and soul of it, Wall Street. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Why aren't tired, losing people waking up? I grew up poor too, and I devoted my life to learning and becoming better like you instead of drugs and alcohol. Well, that's the thing. And again, the thing is sometimes it's a language barrier. Like I have I have a housekeeper, right? And she's so smart, but language barrier, she doesn't have the opportunities, right? It's tough, right? I mean, sometimes you're at your level and people have a hard time, and she doesn't do drugs, she doesn't drink or so there's a lot, man. It's complicated. It's not as easy as black and white. There's so many things, and then here's my other little prediction. And I'll get to in terms of medicine, right? I think medicine's going downhill now too, and I'll explain to you kind of my prediction there. But yeah, and it's being handed off on the poor. Let's see. For me, I can't feel bad for the poor who choose to stay. Again, it's tough. You can't say people choose to stay poor. It's much more complicated than that, right? It's tough. It's really tough, right? If I was able to make it out, anyone, it's tough. It's tough. Right. It really, cause I got some breaks in my life, right? I got a couple professors believing in me. They gave me some breaks. And again, the longer you stand in the barbershop, soon enough, you'll get a haircut. Right. Right. So I have had some breaks. It's tough. Right. It really is. Okay. Because the fact that this exists, you can't tell me that the bottom 50% choose to be poor. Now, again, are their decisions terrible? Sometimes, yes. I can go to these bottom 50% and I can teach them about intrinsic value. They're going to think it's a scam. They tell me the stock market is a scam. Okay. But if you go ahead and give them this data point, They don't understand that their life is a scam. They're living a scam, but they're telling me the stock market's a scam. Well, watch this. In terms of the wealthiest Americans, how much of the stock market do they own? Okay, well, if that's the case, the top 10% of wealth owns 90% of stocks. They own so the top 10% own 90% of the stock market. Okay. Now it's, I think, in 93. So if it's truly a scam, then why do they own 93% of the stock market? You get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, I mean, there is truth to what you're saying. But it's hard to generalize. Okay. Al, I like listening to you, but your assessment and dislike of people who haven't been blessed is wrong. You sound like you sound like the we have running. So I don't understand, Ben. I like listening to you, but your assessment and dislike of people who haven't been blessed is wrong. I'm curious. What did I say? I said that it's hard to generalize people, that you can't say it's people's fault. So I don't know what you're saying there, but again, I'm saying exactly what you're saying. I'm not generalizing, right? Yeah, Ben, you must not have been following Al's journey very long. Yeah, I mean, again, sometimes you got new people. It's fine. I'll show you guys here. Let me see. For folks that don't know, they usually have me paying for this article, my own article. You have ad block. Okay, fine. I know I don't. Oh, maybe this one. Hold on. Come on. Hold on, guys. They have me paying for my own article here. Here, guys. Okay. For folks that don't know, yeah, I know. I don't know. Maybe Ben's confused. Ben, listen, Ben. I was homeless. Okay, I was literally eating from the dumpsters. Okay, I went from being homeless to becoming a multimillionaire. So, I was on the bottom. I guess in the movie, I was like this, bro. So, um, I think you're getting your data wrong, right? Which is why the Democrats hate me, and sometimes the Republicans. If I was to go into politics, I would destroy. Again, I don't want to. I have no inclination to go into politics. But if I go into politics, I would destroy all these people. I would be like literally their kryptonite, right? Right. I'm the person that was not supposed to be successful, right? And the difference is I'm bringing people to the. So I don't know what you're saying, man. You're just like people who haven't been blessed as well. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what you're saying, man. Right, Ben. Yeah, I know when Al walks in the room. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I think Ben is a new person. I don't recognize him, so I think he's new. Yeah, Ben. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying, Ben, but I did not grow up rich. I grew up on the opposite side of things. Yeah, that is what it is, right? But the difference is I'm doing something about it, right? I'm trying to do something, and we've done great things. I mean, here, let me pull up some newsletters here. These are some press releases here. Let me see if I can find them. Here's this one. Our platform now achieves a milestone: total net worth growth exceeding 45 million. Thank you, Benzinga. And then that's only a 30% response rate. And then here's another one where we now are dominating in 44 countries. We've expanded to over 60 stock markets. Again, trying to be able to reach as many people as we can. Again, I don't have to do this. I don't know why I'm like this. The same thing, like when I go to like Florida or whatever, when people bring out those nice fancy hotels, they lay you out with when you want to sit at the beach. Nobody picks it up and helps. Like no one does that. So I just started helping them. It's like it started raining. It's late and no one's just helping them. I get it, you're on vacation, but it's just like, and I go, you paid for it. Again, I don't know why I'm like that. Again, some people can argue like, hey, I don't want to do that, right? That's fine. You don't have to, right? But again, just the way I am, I just, I don't, again, I found a way out. I can go relax. The problem is I feel guilty because it's hard. It's hard. This is a really good, this movie really spoke to me, guys. Please watch this movie. People on Lifetime Access. Where is the movie available? Can you like stream it or? Oh shit, there's a platform 2. I did not see platform. Do not watch platform 2. That's 2024. I'm going to watch platform 2. I'm going to see what I'm going to let you know. But there's a platform 1. Watch this one. I don't know if there is a 2, but please watch it. But yeah, no guys, it's very tough because this is like a great picture, right? This is a great picture, right? Because such a freaking good director, man. Like how do you like let me explain to you guys. And I know sometimes you got to forgive yourself. You got to be able to kind of do your thing, but how do you live a life like this and enjoy a life like this when you were when not too long ago, I mean maybe it's PTSD, but not too long ago you lived like this. How do you transition, right? Like how can you just just Nancy Pelosi it up and just say, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Let's enjoy. How do you do that? Right. It's a transition, right? But instead, I whip out my laptop, whip out the mic. I got my little fast internet here, soon to be. I also have Starlink, but Starlink you have to get, it's hard to set it up. I wish we can do diagonal where we can just shoot it this way, but it doesn't work like that. Way satellites work. But and I bring the little desk they have at the hotel outward so I can enjoy the beach view, and I help. I show, I do my research, and I show like, hey, stock this, stock that, right? But yeah, so that again, it's tough because how do you enjoy all of this when there's people living like this, right? How do you enjoy this when people live like this? And it's hard because Alex, I disagree with you. It's hard to say that, you can, they choose to be poor. Yeah, there can be some truth to that. You are a culmination of your decisions, right? But sometimes it's just the system is so fucked that, how many times I wanted to give up? How many times I wanted to give up, right? Like a lot. And there's people out there in Wall Street that can eat Michelin and they don't care about someone living like this. I chose to take a different approach, right? I chose to build this. So that's all I have for you guys. Appreciate you. And to all my MAGA supporters out there, I hope now you understand why we have socialists come about, because the system is rigged. It's a scam. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And I'm trying to do something about it. Appreciate you all. God bless you. And I'll see you on the next one.